Last week on Chequered Flag, we presented part one of the Carline Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final from Premier Speedway in Warrnambool, Victoria. And the racing was top shelf. Here's Mark Brown storming up on the inside, and Adam Clark attempting to do likewise in the Jack Berry Polar Isone car. In fact, he does go up on the inside of Neville Lance into third. Tonight, we return to one of the world's great dirt track venues for the continuation of our exclusive coverage. Can Dane Kingshot capture his second consecutive Pro Series title? Plus, our Golden Moments segment features the World Series Sprint Cars Grand Final from 2001, and we present an in-depth story on Rob Golding. Our coverage supported by Speedway Australia. On Fox Sports, this is Chequered Flag, celebrating 20 years. Proudly presented by the Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix. Melbourne's Etihad Stadium, October 24. Tickets on sale now from Ticketmaster. Hi, great to have your company. Thanks for joining us this week on Chequered Flag on Fox Sports 5, right around Australia. Part 2 in our exclusive coverage of the Carline Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final from Premier Speedway at Warrnambool. Some wonderful action on last week's show. In just a moment, we'll recap or relive some of the highlights of that in case you were not fortunate enough to join us with our first episode. Of course, when it comes to the points in this tournament heading into tonight's grand final, Dane Kingshot has a fairly comfortable lead, really, 1,187 in advance of Todd Waddell and former national champion Neville Lance. That is the top three, and Kingshot, of course, is also the defending champion. A recap of the track facts here at Premier Speedway, established back in 1972, 410 metres on the pole line. It is a world-famous circuit by virtue of its iconic status with the Grand Annual Sprint Car Classic. And there's a recap of the quick time results with Dane Kingshot continuing his outstanding form. If you didn't catch last week's show, here's a recap. There's a 15-car Rob Golding, and powering up on the inside was Nicholas Rowe in the blue and orange car. Good battle there, but Brock Hullett is the race leader in advance of Ben Hall. And full credit here to Ben Hall. He's coming out after him and in fact takes the lead. And racing up hard on the inside is Caden Manders too. It's a good battle here with Stuart Ferguson leading, albeit narrowly and not for long, as he's passed by Nathan Squires. Here they come. Ferguson the leader. Here comes the challenge from Neville Lance on the inside of Nathan Squires. Good stuff. Lance almost gets it wrong. A couple of guys jumped on the anchors when they saw that. Now Neville Lance powers his way into second spot. In fact, make that the lead. A slide job on Stuart Ferguson. They make contact too.
Nice aggressive move there by Lance. You can just see the guys are really having to favour the inside of the racetrack. And you say, oh, Mark Brown, upside down.
And quickly going through there is in fact Domain Ramsey in the black 71 car. Check that out for wheel-to-wheel action as they thunder down the back straight. The first time the leader's gone. Grant Campbell loops it and spins infield. In 2014-15, Western Australia's Rob Golding has attained contracted driver status for the second consecutive year. His familiar black number 15 car is of course a stablemate to Daniel Golding, and both machines have proven competitive against many of the nation's best. Rob says his driving style varies from that of teammate Dan.
I think Dan, he probably puts it into the corner a bit harder than I do, and he can be quite aggressive as well in a good way. So around Kwinana, he's pretty much on the pace. Whereas I think I'm a bit sort of, I don't know, smoother, I guess. But he won't let me saying that. So, but yeah, the cars are set up, relatively the same. Slight few differences just to whatever the crew chief Ron Pymont thinks of. But other than that, we're on the same cars, same motors, same shocks, same everything.
Do you ever trial each other's cars out, on a practice day to give each other areas of improvement, things you could do different?
Yes and no. For the rain out in Sydney, my car was set up the way that he ran back in Perth. Now my car is set up the way, a few little tweaks and stuff that we found out from Kwinana. So it definitely does help having two cars, and Dan and I get on great, so we're able to share data and all that, so it makes it really interesting.
Despite this being his second season contesting the Pro Series, Rob says the current campaign has been tougher than the first year.
It's tougher this time around. Last year we had a lot of good luck. This year we've had absolutely nothing but bad luck. I've finished one round so far. We've had mechanical problems and car problems, and yeah, we heard a motor before the season even started, so we've gone on the back foot basically all the time. The competition is as hard, if not harder, than last year. I mean, we've got young Nick Rowe next to us. He's right on the pace, and Todd and Brownie, and of course Dane. So it's really hard.
Like many part-time racers, it can be difficult juggling work, racing and family commitments. Golding says he's not immune from these pressures.
I actually work for Dasco Supply Group, so one of our main sponsors. Actually work for my brother Dan as his IT manager. So I look after his computer systems and websites, and write a bit of code here and there and stuff like that.
So does that help with him being the boss to get all the time off to race?
Depends how we're going. He's very good like that. I do a lot of work on his car as well. I built his car this year for him. He is just so flat out with work, he doesn't really get much time. So when he can, he's always down the shed helping us. If not, it's usually me and Ron that are doing a lot, and it helps us out as well. So we can basically know what his car is doing, and pinch spares if we need to.
So how many hours would you spend each week on the car?
More than I should. It'd be a couple hours a week without washing them. So usually we spend a day on washing them, preparing them, and a couple hours during the week.
This season represents the third term that Rob Golding has raced speed cars. He says the team is still searching for the optimum setup.
Our setup is completely different than last year. So because it's only our third full year racing, we've learnt a lot. Ron's really on the ball with things like shocks now, so we're really starting to play around with the shocks. He's now starting to get into the motor settings. So yeah, a lot different than what last year was.
Almost time for heat race action, the continuation of it at Premier Speedway Warrnambool. First up today, you'll see heat race number 5, 6 heats in total at the Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final. So 2 heats to be covered on today's episode of Chequered Flag, followed by the all-important main event that will determine the Speed Car Pro Series champion for season 2014-15. Ebony Hawkins is working with us in the pits. Here she is.
Nick, this is your first time at Warrnambool. What's your impressions of the track so far?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's very, very fast. I've never driven on probably a track as fast as this. I drove at Parramatta last weekend, and apparently that's meant to be pretty fast, but this is pretty crazy. I love it so much.
Nice one. Now, how are you enjoying it so far, considering this is only a 6th outing on the dirt?
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Like the first few times I was still now I'm still trying to learn how to just control it and all the plans and tactics of driving these things. So I race Formula Ford, and it's so different to anything on bitumen, and you just really have to control yourself, and it's all about throttle control and how much less you can move the steering wheel and all that. It's pretty cool.
What has been the biggest learning curve?
The biggest learning curve is probably going sideways and trying to just, it feels like you're about to spin out because I'm used to going so straight and smooth, but you just got to get to the point where you're not going to spin out and you're actually going sideways, and yeah.
How has Speedway improved your circuit racing skills?
It's probably calmed me down a bit on the bitumen because I was a bit out of control and couldn't do 10 laps in a row. I'd probably do 8 fast laps and then stuff up because I still had to learn how to just control myself because I'm so young, but this is sort of probably taking a bit of it out because this is just insane.
The thing is, you go in probably half the speed in this, but the reaction times have to be so quick, right?
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy. I race Formula Ford, and you always got you go 10 seconds down the main straight and you think about what you're going to do. This, you're always trying to pass someone, turning, going down the straight, even going down the straight's hard, pulling the chair off, looking at the gauges. It's all pretty intense.
The youthful exuberance, Nicholas Rowe, one of the many up-and-coming youngsters in this sport, the West Australian. Of course, he lines up here tonight for the first time on the high banks of Premier Speedway at Warrnambool in his career. Golding, Grant Campbell, Farrell, Rowe, Waddell, Ramsey, Kingshot, Griffiths. They are the starters in heat race number 5. Rob Golding on pole. Rowe, the youngster that Ebony just spoke to, inside second row. Grant Campbell up on top of the banking. We go racing now. Green light conditions at Premier Speedway. Golding clinging to a narrow lead. Now Grant Campbell gives him some hurry up, and here is the youngster Nicholas Rowe looking for a way by on the inside. They have a little bit of contact. Car number 2, meanwhile, Paul Farrell has began quickly. Warren Ferguson is with me again this week, and once again, helter-skelter from the mighty midgets.
Straight away, it certainly is, Tappy. Nicholas Rowe there's done a fantastic job finding that bottom groove while the other guys scramble for traction, and he's put it straight up into the lead there.
On board with Todd Waddell. Great to see him back. A serious assault on speedway racing after a brief foray into drag racing. Up on the inside, car number 24, Dane Kingshot. Current series leader advances a spot.
Kingshot's been watching Nicholas Rowe there. He's found that exact line around the bottom. Be interesting to see how Kingshot can do coming from position 7 to get to second now, whether he can chase down Rowe.
How good is this sport? Seriously, speed car racing. Wheel-to-wheel stuff. Domain Ramsey into trouble in the Essendon Ford entry. He was having a spectacular drive. I was keeping an eye on him. In the lead up to that incident, he was up on top of the track. There he is there at the top of the screen, and he was very skatey.
Yeah, he's trying to find a different groove. You know, that's the joys of when you're looking to pass. The track's challenging at the moment. It's quite slick. He's obviously got out of that groove into the slick and unfortunately turned it around. Michael
Griffiths in the Victorian 75 entry, coming into contact with him, really didn't have anywhere to go. So race restart, single file formation with Nicholas Rowe up front. Good to have your company on Fox Sports. Season 20 of Chequered Flag.
Oh, Nicholas Rowe, he held it right to the end there. You know, he almost jumped a little earlier in Fox Dane Kingshot, but look, he's doing a good job out here. Kingshot wasn't able to take any advantage on that restart.
We are mid-race distance, the leading 2, separated by just 1 car length. Car 15, Rob Golding, now under siege from Todd Waddell in the tap-out entry, and Domain Ramsey, he's really showing a liking to the top of the speedway. Committed. Speaking of committed, Waddell was committed. He passes Rob Golding on the inside and moves up a spot.
Yeah, Ramsey's got the old adage of go where they're not, and he's making up some move. He's already picked up a couple of spots from the back of the field.
Looking at the front of the Dane Kingshot machine. Wonderful shot, isn't it? Nicholas Rowe doing some job maintaining the race lead over his higher profile rival.
You see Kingshot there, he's searching around the racetrack. He's looking, you can see moving up to the middle groove here, trying to see if he can find something to catch Rowe. But Rowe is doing a tremendous job out front here.
Very tidy. Down low, back straight. Rowe doing a tremendous job in the 97 car. Also has the backing of Tap Out, K-Tech Rentals, and there's the Chequered Flag. And Nicholas Rowe, well done. Superb drive, coming off the second row. Got to the front early and built himself up an unassailable lead. Kingshot, Waddell, Golding and Domain Ramsey. There's no doubt who got the most spectacular award in that one. It was the driver finishing in 5th place. We'll recap the race highlights for you for the Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix, Etihad Stadium, October 24 this year. Cannot wait for that one. World Championship Speedway down under. And we're proud to have Etihad Stadium as presenting sponsor of Chequered Flag this season. Meanwhile, the Speedway Racing News, speedway.com.au recap.
We see Nick Rowe there, straight to the bottom, 3 wide. A little bit lucky not to get into trouble here, but continued to do a great job. We saw Ramsey blast straight to the outside on that restart, on that start as well.
It was frenetic, wheel-to-wheel stuff, 2, 3, 4 wide on occasions. We become very used to that from this class of racing.
Plenty of room on this racetrack for these midget cars, and you can see there 3 wide again. Ramsey really hanging on to that high groove on the outside. It's Dane Kingshot makes the low groove work. Straight through, I think that was into second place.
Yeah, and Golding was the driver relegated, and he was soon to feel the presence of Todd Waddell. That was when Jermaine Ramsey looped the Essendon Ford entry. Michael Griffiths, his fellow Victorian, coming into contact with him. That necessitated a race restart, and Waddell went on the charge up on the inside of Rob Golding. Golding started the race on pole position, but unfortunately couldn't stay at the pointy end. Nicholas Rowe, what a job he did.
Yeah, it was all this young man. He's done a fantastic job in this heat race.
Kept his cool, charged to the checker. In sensational fashion, one of the nation's best drivers behind him, Dane Kingshot, who tonight is in search of his second consecutive Carline Speed Car Pro Series crown. So here's Nicholas. Ebony spoke to him just prior to the race, and she's in position now to catch up with the youngster as he emerges from the 97 car.
Nick Rowe, safe to say you are a happy man.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. Started off third there and had to wait a bit to get past Robbie. He was holding a really good line, and yeah, just had to wait and bite my time and finally got past him. And pretty cool.
The track is looking a little bit slick.
Yeah, no, it is pretty slick out there. It's a one-liner too, so you don't have much room to make a mistake or make a pass really. So it was pretty good to start off third and get to the lead. I'm pretty happy with it.
Now, as that is the final heat for you this evening, what feedback will you give your team now in terms of changes and setup?
It just depends what they do on the track. If they don't change the track at all, I'll probably go a little bit tighter so I can just hold it a bit better through the middle of the corner. And, yeah.
And just quickly, what's your preparation for a race day like this? What do you do? What's the morning like?
Well, we're going to go racing Nowra tomorrow, which is like a 14-hour drive. So as soon as this race is finished, we'll put it in the truck and we'll go to Nowra. We'll get to Nowra, and basically you got to do a whole nother. It's basically like rebuilding a car basically after the race, where you got to take all the injectors out, clean all the pistons, everything like that, take the exhaust pipes off, make sure nothing's scorched, everything like that.
Busy, busy. Now your team are pretty excited to celebrate you in. You better go over there and give them a high five. They're on it.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. It's pretty cool.
Got a feeling that celebrations will be on in earnest in the Nicholas Rowe team tonight. He's having a fantastic time.
Good stuff, thank you.
Good stuff. We will now take a break on Fox Sports, and we're coming back with the continuation of Chequered Flag in a moment.
This is Chequered Flag on Australia's sports leader. Supported proudly by the Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix. Be a part of the action on October 24, 2015. Book now.
Yes, the tickets available from Ticketmaster for the Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix at Etihad Stadium. Welcome back to our coverage of the Carline Speed Car Pro Series. A big thanks to Speedway Australia for its support in bringing you the coverage. Wilshire, Ferguson, Merrilees, Manders, Jordan, Mills and Dillon. The driver lineup here in the final heat. Wilshire in the green car on pole. Ferguson, the Victorian, on his outside car number 4. And we go racing in the final heat. Who will it be? Wilshire, best to begin, charges through turns 1 and 2, already leading by a couple of car lengths. Here come the challengers. High up on the circuit there is Travis Mills in the 10 car. Also going strongly is Caden Manders, car number 11. He's up running top 3.
Yeah, Mills got a bit unlucky there. Couldn't quite get the drive coming off the corner and ended up dropping a couple of spots after that brave move. Great start by Wilshire there. Picked up the inside line and ran straight out to the lead.
Lee Dillon in the red 9 car. Back undertaking a full season campaign in speed car racing, after really concentrating his efforts on Luke Dillon's sprint car racing for a number of years prior. So good to see Lee back in the little cars and running competitively. Speaking of competitively, that certainly applies to our race leader Wilshire.
He's running away from the field at the moment, Tappy, and I see Manders there. Absolutely will not go to the outside. He's persisting with the bottom on Ferguson and trying to force a bit of a groove up there.
Indeed, Dean Merrilees just behind the leading trio. Good shot of Wilshire. Similar to what we saw in the previous heat, running down low, Obviously the track is very black, as you can see. The top of the speedway not really offering much, Warren. It's you couldn't describe it as a cushion. It's just very skatey.
No, it's very skatey. I'm sure there's some marbly sort of surface up there, and I think it's just a bit too far around at the top at the moment, Tappy. We might see later in the night these guys might change gears in the car in the pit stop and then get a little bit more momentum wound up and try to stick it up near the fence.
Yeah, when you say change gears, for the uninitiated watching that might not know a lot about the sport, in this instance you're talking about changing the gears in the rear end.
Yeah, that's right. It's a process that you have to do once the car's stopped. These cars are a direct drive. They don't have a clutch flywheel or any sort of gear lever. As we see the Checker, Wilshire does a fantastic job.
Yep, he does indeed. Winning quite comfortably in advance of Manders, Ferguson, Dillon, and Dean Merrilees was back in 5th position. So that's all she wrote in heat race number 6. We'll recap the action. Yeah, so the cars have a quick change rear end, which is unbolted. The crew get under the car.
That's correct. And you better be wearing gloves because those gears get pretty hot after a heat race.
Hot after the heat. Race recap now for speedway.com.au. And really, Wilshire was able to get straight into clean air and was never headed.
He certainly was. He just went out the front. You see Manders there, persistent with the bottom. It ended up paying off. He managed to get by later in the race. You see Travis Mills there, who's up as high as 4th place, but he just couldn't hang on to that high groove.
Yeah, Merrilees in the middle of the pack in the 2 car. There's Dillon. I talked about him during the race call. Travis Mills. Great to see him back in the sport after some nasty injuries sustained last season. Manders, this kid that seemingly everyone is talking about in speed car racing, shocked the industry with a stunning win in the opening round of the Speed Car Pro Series at the Perth Motorplex. The event doubling as the prestigious Magic Man 34. And here he is tonight competing in the big time again. Recap. Wilshire too good. Let's go to the pits.
Dylan, nice work taking out the final heat of the night.
Thank you.
How's the car feeling?
Yeah, car's alright. I'm slowly adapting. It's my 3rd night in the car, so I'm pretty happy where we're at. I'm just got to keep Darryl happy, and that's the main thing. As long as we keep him happy, I'm happy, I guess. And I'm in the seat, I'm happy. So yeah, it's a dream come true.
Nice. Now, what feedback will you give the guys now in terms of changes before the feature?
It really depends what the track's doing. I think it's going close to taking rubber. So if it takes rubber, they're going to have to work the track. So I don't know whether we stay where we've sort of been for the night because it's been pretty good. But if they leave it, well, yeah, it's sort of anyone's call, really.
Well, will you give them feedback in terms of tyre choice?
Yeah, well, we've got to go find out what we've got to run now because we smoked them tyres off in that heat race. So we've got to work out what stagger we're going to run and then go from there.
Are there any tricky spots forming on the track?
It's just real slick the whole way over. There's no real grip at anywhere. So if you get your left rear stuck on the concrete, that's where it's pretty good. So it's sort of cheat a little bit, but the track's pretty consistent all over.
Fantastic, thank you.
No worries.
Just a reminder that this venue at Premier Speedway in Warrnambool hosting the Australian Speed Car Championship to be conducted over 2 nights on the 27th and 28th of February. That will be something. Domain Ramsey's car, the Essendon Ford entry, looking a little worse for wear, but they will have enough time to effect the necessary repairs to be ready in time for the main event. The main event is in fact next. Of course, a welcome addition to tonight's field in the Polar Ice Jack Berry sponsored midget is of course the defending Australian champion Adam Clark, one of the all-time greats of this sport. And here he is with Ebony.
Adam Clark, I'm just seeing the boys set up your car for the feature. Looks like you're running the SD38s on the rights.
Yeah, on the right side we've got SD38 and a 33 on the left, which is a 1 compound softer. But the right rear, we're going to run a 38 or harder. So 38 and then the next one up would be a 44. But I think the track tonight, 38's a very good tyre of the American races which we run. So I think it will last the 30 laps pretty good.
And you are one team that don't run bleed-offs. Tell me about the logic behind that.
In a midget, 30 laps, we normally start with about, say, 5 on the left side tyre pressure, 10 on the right, and they'll normally grow about 2 pounds. So if it went like 20 to 30 laps straight, it might grow 4 pounds, and we just we run with it. The bleed off is another job for somebody, and it's very finicky, and you really got to, pay attention. And I don't think our races are long enough, and I don't think it's a benefit.
Do you run any kind of spacers or anything on the car?
Yeah, we can space the car in and out to tighten it up or loosen up. Like our right rear, we bring it in half an inch to tighten up a little bit more. And then also with our stagger, which is the right rear to the left rear, obviously the right rear is bigger, so we've just put a little bit taller left rear on, which takes a bit of stagger out, which then tightens the car up also for this 3-lap race, because we want to be good at the end of it.
That's it. Now, I like talking technical. For the fans at home who don't know, what is a Jacob's ladder? Where is it? What does it do?
The Jacob's ladder is over here, just on the right-hand side here. That's the triangle part there. It's the roll centre of the car, so it allows the car to get over on the right rear, because we have no wings, so we need to get mechanical grip, and that helps get mechanical grip.
And it holds, obviously, the diff and everything in place?
Yes, correct. Holds the diff in place, and once you centre it all up there with your spacers, any of your bird cages, it's all centred up, for your drive line that there, because it's a solid drive line through the centre.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
On Fox Sports, this is Chequered Flag, presented by the 2015 Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix. Spectacular action for the whole family. Book now with Ticketmaster. Introducing a Chequered Flag golden moment.
Jackson trying desperately to hang on. He wants this, the World Series Sprint Cars Grand Final. Madsen makes a mistake and goes up high on the track. That means that Donnie Schatz, the American, comes up to launch a serious challenge on the inside. His car's starting to come on like gangbusters. The American, there's 6.5 laps remaining. You're looking at the race leader. Skip Jackson out of turn 4.
Brooke Tannell must have a bit of a problem. He's just to drop back down to 4th or even 5th position. As the battle continues up front, Kerry Madsen now chasing that drive off the bottom of the racetrack.
Yeah, now all of a sudden Madsen, who saw shots, he's less concerned with trying to catch Skip Jackson, the leader, as he is to keep Donnie Schatz behind him at this point.
6 laps remaining. It's Skip Jackson, Madsen and Schatz involved in an epic battle. You're looking at Brooke Tannell further back in the pack. He's dropped well out of the top 3 in this race, which I must admit really surprises me. I guess he goes to show tonight he is human.
As a leader of the race, you don't want to come up on 2 cars that were virtually running side by side. Now they did split apart. Skip's going to be able to get by, but boy, when they're running side by side and you're leading a race, that's the last thing you want to see.
There are 3 laps remaining, gentlemen. Jackson, the leader. Schatz has taken 2nd place away from Kerry Madsen, the American from North Dakota, occupying the runners-up position. There's a nice tight shot of Jackson at work in the office. Not far remaining. Schatz is the driver. He's got to be concerned about. Madsen's car is going off.
Looks like Schatz might have moved his wing right back on that car. Huge angle on the wing now as you see him starting to pick up some speed and starting to haul Skip Jackson in.
Wide shot, that'll give you a look at the gap. Jackson, left-hand side of screen, hugging the low lane in the Pennzoil Toyota Genuine Parts entry. There's a lap to go. Chequered Flag is poised, in fact, next time round. And Skip Jackson is going to win the World Series Sprint Cars Grand Final. Does so. Great drive by the Sydney Sider.
Yes, the golden moment for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Back to 2001. A true Chequered Flag classic. And Skip Jackson. Wow. A man that did so well in that competition. Welcome back to our coverage of the Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final from Warrnambool. Here's Ebony on the infielder.
The guys here in the Speed Car Pro Series office have been very busy crunching numbers. And here's the deal. Dane Kingshot only needs to start tonight to take out his 2nd Speed Car Pro Series. You get points still if you DNF, so even if that's the case, he takes it out. Tonight, he starts from the front line, and he would want to finish it off with a win. It wouldn't get any better than that for Dane. So, the feature race is about to start. Let's get to it now.
Well done, Ebony. She's got the best seat in the house down there on the centre green. Marvellous sight. The car's on the track. The tournament grand final, Carline Speed Car Pro Series. A tournament that has been punctuated by rainouts this season. But we've still been able to bring you a host of programs featuring this tournament that have all included world-class racing. It is a great sight, Warren, and you as a current driver, albeit sprint cars in your case, this must be a wonderful time for a driver to sit in the car and get pumped up.
Look, it certainly is. You're getting ready for the start of the race. You're getting anxious. The heart rate is climbing. You know, you really wanted to get underway right now.
Here's the grid. Kingshot, Clark, Manders, Ramsey, Thomas, Brown, Dillon, Mills, Waddell and Wilshire. They are your top 10. Jordan will come out of 11. As we roll the graphic over now, it's a big field of cars. Lance, the former Australian champion, out of 12. Nicholas Rowe, very impressive. The youngster tonight lost in Squires Merrill's Golding Hall. Paul Farrell and Stuart Ferguson in car number 4. Host of West Australians and Victorians and South Australians. Grant Campbell, Hallett, Griffithson, Papa. Hallett, worth keeping an eye on. Starting from deep in the pack, he is, of course, the reigning Australian Formula 500 champion. How do you see it going?
Well, you got Kingshot and Clark on the front row there, and those two guys are going to give it a shake. Manders in the second row. Yeah, wow, this is going to be a great race up front.
Yeah, Thomas, the Queenslander. Illuminated Industries entry. Dillon behind him. Domain Ramsey on his outside. Here we go. The grand final of the Speed Car Pro Series. Lap 1 of 30. Kingshot goes to the front. He is the new champion by virtue of starting this race. But despite the fact he's already sewn it up, immense interest here. Adam Clark can't go with him early in this one, Warren.
No, he tried very hard on that start to get the jump and then pull down to the pole line. Instead, he had to defer and come back in underneath the lead car.
There's the Australian champion. His comments were very interesting about the bleed-off valves when talking to Ebony a little while ago on the show and talking about a 4-pound differential. I would have thought that'd be a lot.
Well, he said they were going to run 10 pound, and 4 pound up from 10 is quite a bit of difference in my books. But look, if that's not Domain, that's Ben Hall there, just getting in touch with Rob Golding.
So we see amber lights for the first time in this one, with a bit of luck for the last time.
Yeah, just as we get the Golding car back underway, and we see what happened between Hall and Golding here. And word just to hand, Neville Lance, one of the big names in this event, has had to pull out of the race. He's down on the infield right now with Ebony.
Neville Lance, not how you wanted to end the grand final of the Speed Car Pro Series. It just looked like you were going back and back in the pack. What's happened to the car?
Didn't want to run properly. I don't know. I mean, something's happened, so can't do much out there on the track, so I was going to get in the way, so I just decided to pull off. So it was, started misfiring, so not really sure what's happened.
Better to take care of the engine rather than push it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Neville Lance understandably dejected. So restart here. More than a lap had been completed, so hence it is single file formation. Kingshot, the 2 times champion of the Carline Speed Car Pro Series, again leads from Adam Clark. Caden Manders, the sensational young West Australian talent, is up running third.
Got a trio of very good cars up the front. You can see Kingshot's really thinking tonight as well on that restart. Got the car high on the track so he get a straight run. As we're on board with Todd Waddell at the moment, just showing how close the racing is.
Yeah, he's under siege from Nicholas Rowe. In fact, more than under siege. He has been overtaken. So the youngster advancing a spot is Domain Ramsey in the Essendon Ford entry. Running about 7th on the raceway at the present time. The Bunbury Subaru entry, car 24. Dane Kingshot, race leader. We go orange again on the speedway. Travis Mills and Domain Ramsey getting all caught up.
Yeah, Millsy looks like he's hitched a ride there, but I bet it's not the ride he wanted.
Good guy, Travis Mills. One of the more affable characters in this sport. He'll keep smiling. So Kingshot, pedal to the metal. He'd be well aware that the reigning national champion is lurking somewhere. Of course, for the uninitiated watching, these cars don't have rear view or side mirrors. You can hear engines, but you really don't know who it is that's breathing down your neck.
No, you certainly don't. And I was just thinking about Adam Clark's comments earlier about tyres. He mentioned going to the SD38, which is the harder compound. I'm not sure what Kingshot's got on his car at the moment, but Adam would not be wanting all these stoppages. With the harder tyre, you want the race to continue so it sustains its temperature.
Good point. Lap 5 of 30. There's Manders, Brett Thomas, Mark Brown. Brown in the purple tap-out energy drink car. luckless throughout the 2014-15 tournament was Brownie, multiple winner of the Australian Speed Car Grand Prix. Good onboard shot, Todd Waddell in full flight. Car 22, Joseph Lostich behind him.
A great onboard shot. Sees how much these guys have to work at the wheel. As we see Dylan finding a groove around the outside of Manders there. That's a great run.
Yeah, Lee Dillon, South Australian in car number 9. Let's watch this with interest. Like to know what right rear tyre Kingshot is running. The speed he had early on, you'd think he may have opted for a slightly softer compound to Clark.
Clark was just coming into contention there and the wheelchair car spun. That's such a shame. I think those tyres were coming into play.
Yeah. So, another amber. Another race restart.
See Kingshot here sitting wide up and see how he gets a good straight run down on the straightaway, lengthens the straight. He's picked 3 different positions to start the race, except this time Clarkie is right on him.
Back straight away. Kingshot in advance of Adam Clark. The Jack Berry-owned Polar Ice spike chassis.
Dylan's up there smoking around the outside. He's certainly got Manders cleared. Now Manders has gone to the top to try and see if there's another line.
Man, he is on the fly, Dylan.
These 2 front guys won't know this is going on. No mirrors, as you said before, Tappy. You got no idea that somebody out there is making ground in another groove.
The Newline-sponsored speed car on the fly, and now we see Clark challenging for the race lead. Kingshot from Bunbury in Western Australia. Adam Clark from the Hunter Valley region of New South Wales. He's a second-generation driver. His old man Roger, very fine sedan driver in the 80s. There's Griffiths, the Victorian, one of the most elaborate paint jobs in world speed car racing.
Very elaborate. I bet the stone chips like that one. Look, that's a shame. I think we were just coming into a great run at the front of the field there, but bad luck to the 75 car.
Indeed. Spinning infield. So there's been a few stoppages. Hopefully we'll get the race run and won now. Thanks for joining us on Fox Sports, our 20th season of Chequered Flag, presented by the Australian FIM Speedway Grand Prix, Melbourne's Etihad Stadium, October 24 this year. Brown got very close there with Caden Manders. They were able to avoid each other. Manders up on the inside of Dylan. Dylan switches lines and he has a crack back on the inside of the West Australian. This is the battle for third. Mark Brown is coming into it too, as is Brett Thomas. Good speed car racing.
This is great racing. You can see the guys searching for lines. Brown and Thomas coming into contention here as the cars of Dylan and Manders battle it out 3 wide off turn 4.
What a mighty category of racing. What other motorsport do you see racing like this in, can you tell me?
Yeah.
Great stuff down the back straight.
This is what midget racing is all about. And the passing, you know, how can you beat it?
Paul Farrell is there too in the white and orange car. Nicholas Rowe. You'd swear they were battling for the World Championship. Kingshot out in front, back on board with Todd Waddell. Lap 12 of 30, so we're yet to reach half race distance. Clark won't go away, will he? Here he comes, nipping away at the race leader again.
You could just see there, Clark's keeping his car very straight. Here he goes. He's straighter than what the 24 car from WA is. That'll be the difference. If Kingshot just gets too sideways, he'll lose the drive and Clark will be through.
Now Manders doing what we saw Lee Dillon doing a little earlier, running about a metre off the concrete wall, and Mark Brown also having a go upstairs. So this is really fascinating stuff. 2 cars out front running the low line, and look at the speed of the other 2. Manders goes by on the outside of Adam Clark. Mark Brown wants a piece of this action too. Sensational racing at Premier Speedway.
Great stuff. Look at Manders up there in second. He's going for the lead now. I'm surprised Clark didn't try to switch to the top there. There he is. He's picked up the lead, Manders.
Yes, he's gone to the front, the youngster, Kingshot. His
Oh, slide
compatriot
job.
from WA, classic slide job. Manders goes back to the front. And look at Brownie. Mark Brown now arriving on the scene too. There's 4 of them at it.
3 wide again, coming off turn 2 there.
Wonderful speedway. Clark. How much longer will he persist with the bottom of the speedway?
Well, he's switched to the top groove now, but Brownie's making the slide job work on the bottom, up into third.
Great stuff. Another look at this on the Speedway Racing News. Speedway.com.au replay. Manders in car number 11.
how much composure did this young kid have? Look at this. Kingshot puts a classic slide on, and he just switches it back and underneath him.
He drives with maturity, far exceeding. He's only 16, the kid in front. Manders, Kingshot, Mark Brown, Adam Clark. That's the top four. On board with Kingshot as he has a crack on the inside. There's a bit of lap traffic in his way, as you can see. Manders takes him back again. It doesn't get any better than this.
It's a slide job after slide job. And he just hangs on to it this time. Kingshot, he's kept the lead and stayed on the top groove.
Gee, it must be fun. They'd be having a dead set ball out there, these guys.
Absolutely. This is what racing's all about.
Yep, absolutely. Brown is sitting back. He'd be just about punching his right foot through the firewall, looking for every ounce of horsepower. He's had a wretched series with bad luck. Brown, he'd love to finish on a strong note.
Yeah, look, he's looked good. He picked up the opportunity to slide job when those guys were battling up front. Manders gets a little bit tight. He bumps the wall there.
Does he ever?
Brown is right up on the inside of him. Gets through.
Yeah, so Mark Brown. Wonderful. Up to second, Dane Kingshot. About 10 car lengths now in advance. He's got a bit of momentum in his favour. That dice involving Mark Brown and Caden Manders slowed them up slightly. Has done Dane Kingshot a huge service.
It's amazing looking at this racetrack. Those guys were tied to the bottom. They couldn't get the speed going. A couple of guys back in the field come up, shook it all up, and it just shows how the groove moves around during a race.
Oh, car upside down. What a pity. It's been an absolute beauty. That's the other 71 car upside down, Ben Hall. He's moving around in the car. He's quite okay. It happened towards the back of the pack.
Yeah, we can just see there, he got up high on the racetrack trying to run that outside groove.
Let's go down to Ebony.
Well, just a racing incident, we just driver error, just ran out of talent, so try to run the top, and when you run that far back, you got to kind of look around to see where to go forward. Just a mistake, we'll come back again.
Everyone's trying the different lines tonight as well. It seems to be working. I mean, the lead's changed that many times. It's crazy.
Well, I think with the accident earlier tonight, they've had to... The track's not the best racing track we've had, but we all have to work around it and we'll keep going.
The only final question that I've got is, are you okay after that?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck to Ben. Economical with his words. Obviously very disappointed. So can't wait for this. The charge to the checker. It will be insane. Kingshot is the champion again for this season. That's him up front. Car 24, Mark Brown. What a drive from deep in the pack. So underway, Caden Manders is handy. Adam Clark up on the inside of him. Now Manders is going to give him some hurry up. Lap 25 of 30.
Clark shuts down the line, so Manders couldn't come back on the slide job.
Kingshot has a sizable lead over his nearest rival, Mark Brown. This kid, Kingshot, drives with so much maturity as well. Look at the action further back. Travis Mills, Dylan is there too. The leading group of drivers all up, scraping the concrete now in search of maximum traction.
It's great watching these guys up on the high bank, right up near the wall. Yeah, they're hanging it all out. That's tough stuff getting up around there.
So last lap coming up for our race leader. You can't do any more, can you, than what Dane Kingshot has done in this series. Supremely consistent. Has got more than his share of race wins and has reaffirmed his status as one of the country's best. He just glances the wall there slightly. Off turn number 4, he runs across the start-finish line, last racing lap.
Yeah, last lap, and he's still hanging it out, glancing the wall there. Normally you don't take those risks, but he wants the win.
Yeah, he probably thinks Brownie or someone like that is bearing down on him. Here it is, Dane Kingshot wins the Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final for Carline Automotive. Across the start-finish line, thoroughly enjoyable main event. Over 30 laps tonight. Mark Brown, great drive in second, has fired a warning shot, reminding everyone how good he is. Adam Clark, Caden Manders, and Brett Thomas, a very consistent and quality drive from the Queenslander in 5th. So Kingshot, jubilant. He came, he conquered. Second year in succession. Big effort when you're based in Bunbury. It's a long haul to go racing just about anywhere.
Yeah, it is. Those guys put in a hell of an effort, and these cars take a lot of maintenance. You know, they're going to be working all the time when they're racing weekends back to back and trying to keep things going. You see here, King Shot, he got the start over Clark and really stretched it out from there. This is the Ben Hall incident where he and Rob Golding got together. Unfortunately, Golding got spun around.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime ago. Early stages of the race. Gee, we saw some fantastic wheel-to-wheel stuff. Nicholas Rowe there, moving up on the inside. Nicholas Rowe has shown this weekend that he is very much a star of the future.
Yeah, Nicholas finished up 6th in the feature race. Did a great job for his first time at Warrnambool. Adam Clark there, one must wonder, did he choose the right tyres and the right air pressures or not?
Yeah, no, for sure. We can speculate. He was competitive as always. There, having a look on the inside of Dane Kingshot, who led throughout the 30-lap journey. Caden Manders and Dylan. Dylan, for a brief time in the race, looked like he was the man to beat. He was coming from the clouds.
He was the first guy to go upstairs and really try that high line. And then once Manders got it working, Manders drove back around Dylan there, as you see, and that's when Manders really took off in this race.
Track became slick, a little bit of dust around. But once again, a magnificent example of the quality of speed car racing and the entertainment value with what is the most traditional four-wheel section of the sport.
You see there Mark Brown, he's back in about 6th place at this point. So he had a few cars to get past to get up to his 2nd place result. An excellent job there.
As we watch this recap, a reminder at the back end of today's program, we'll bring you all the information as to how you can donate and assist Robbie Gordon, the injured driver involved in a serious accident here that you saw on last week's episode of Chequered Flag. And his family and crew have established a charitable fund to assist in his recovery and rehabilitation, and we wish him all the very best. As you look there at Caden Manders, under siege. He got to the front, Kingshot took it back again, then Manders had another crack at him, only for Dane Kingshot to return the favour.
Yeah, Manders was precision perfect there. He just turned the car back underneath. And you see here, we get into the slide job battle with Dane Kingshot underneath Manders. Manders back underneath Kingshot. Excellent racing, fantastic stuff.
I think I said earlier in this recap that Kingshot had led the entire 30. That was obviously not the case with Caden Manders charging towards the front. And what a battle it was between he and his compatriot, his fellow West Australian. But then in the end, Kingshot was to prove far too good across the line and taking victory. And victory is very sweet in this case.
Victory and dominating the championship, David. You know, these guys have dominated this series.
Yeah, and not an easy event to dominate. Let's face it, plenty of good cars and drivers. It's just a massive effort, huge effort.
The whole team there is very happy. You know, with these cars, it takes a team. You can't do it by yourself.
Yeah, well done to Speedway Australia and Carline Automotive as well. Kingshot, Waddell, Thomas, Lance Brown, Rowe, Hallerton, Golding. That's the final series point score. And Kingshot, really, that's a big win when all is said and done. We'll never know, but wonder what would have happened had we have not lost 3 rounds through rain. Would he have won by a bigger score, or would have the results changed? Here's Ebony.
If there's any time to use a pun, it's right now. Officially the king of the Speed Car Pro Series, Dane Kingshot. Well done.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was just a massive effort from the crew and all my sponsors to get us around the country again, and that thing was on rails again. You know, it seems every time we come out now it's like that, so big credit to these boys. And yeah, it was great to get the win around here. It was an awesome racetrack and it was real good fun.
I tell you what, it was damn exciting to watch from our point of view.
Yeah, no, it was exciting from where I was too, so it was good fun. It's always good when you can have a race with a few people, and it's good to beat Clarkey as well, you know, A1, and we're the Australian titles here this year, so hopefully we can bring some form like that over here.
Wardy, Pete, Matt, yourself, go and celebrate hard tonight.
Thank you very much.
Brown Dog, awesome stuff. So glad to see you finish the Speed Car Pro Series Grand Final on the podium like you deserve.
Yeah, no, it's good. The car was good. Come from 8th. Those guys sat in the front row, but off that last restart, I couldn't turn. I was that tight. You know, I probably wish it sort of went to the end a little bit because I was just starting to come on. But Dane drove a good job on the series. He deserves it. My teammate ran second, so that's awesome. So in the series, it's good to beat AC after teaching me on New Year's Eve how to get this car right.
I'll tell you what, you have to watch the replay of that back. Seeing you guys battle for the lead, it was on.
Yeah, got to thank Mills. You've done a great job getting this track right tonight. I also want to thank Shane Constant, an awesome job, and all the guys from Speedway Australia. Benny Bish does a great job. You guys do a great job, and thanks to my car owner Rob Bennett for giving me the opportunity to drive for him, and of course Alki, Ronnie, Marky, and Little Cades. You know, my whole team's just done an excellent job. Thanks to Tap Out, K-Tech, and GRD. Thank you.
Thank you for putting on a good show.
All right, I loved it. Thank you.
Adam Clark, what a battle finishing there in third spot.
Yeah, it was a great race. Early on the bottom was working well, and it was coming to us, with our car set up and everything else. And then, the high lines started to come in, and they started rounding us up. So then we all went to the top, and then it was slide jobs, and it was a great race. It was a great race, and congratulations to Dane for his second championship win, and Mark on second. It was a great race, and I really enjoyed it.
You guys definitely worked hard. I mean, the lead changed so many times. That was so thrilling to watch.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to drive, and just got to keep working at it and keep progressing for the title. So, just want to say, thank you very much to Jack Berry Racing for giving me the opportunity to drive the car, American Racing Tyres, and the whole crew for making this weekend happen. It was been very challenging. Adam and his brother for bringing the car down, and then Joel and Al and Eliza and Jess for giving us a hand, because without them I couldn't do it, and it's been a challenging week.
Awesome stuff as always. Well done.
Thank you.
So well done to the top three. Next week on Chequered Flag here on Fox Sports 5. It's Australia versus the USA in the late models from Quit Bunbury Speedway, starring Steve Francis and a host of Americans in the event they're calling the Invasion Tour. Look forward to bringing you the pictures exclusively next week on Chequered Flag, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Now here's the details of the charitable trust for Robbie Gordon that has been established over the past few days. The BSB, the account number on screen, the email doingitforrobbie@hotmail.com. And Chequered Flag is going to start by donating to that cause, and we certainly do reiterate that we wish Robbie Gordon all the best for his recovery and upcoming rehab. Thanks very much for being with us, Warren. Exciting night of speed car racing, and one that I'll remember for a long time to come.
Fantastic racing as usual, and we cap it off with the three victors here, and the King of the Hill, Dane Kingshot.
Thanks for being with us.